So everyone, once again it's time for the differences in spoiler review for the 11th episode of the Magia Record anime. Of course there will be spoilers for both game versions of the Japanese and the North American version for the Magia Record game. If you don't want to see any of those spoilers, then move along, otherwise let's get in there. That said, I know that some anime onlys are watching this video just to see some background information, and there will actually be a massive spoiler coming up right at the start of this that is actually one of the biggest twists in the entire story. If you don't want to have that spoiled to you, skip about 1 minute ahead, skip 1 minute ahead. For the rest, let's begin with the with what the chapter does at this point. We see images of some Oscars flying around, and I told you last episode that Oscars are the minions of the Witch of Happiness, Shitori Egumo, and what they're basically saying is, "Where are you, sister?" Now, since they are the minions of the witch Shitori Egumo, who is hiding in the base of Magius, and they're going, "Where are you, sister?" I'm not going to spell the rest out for you, but you can kind of guess already. We then see some images of Aina and Mifuyu talking to each other, where they're talking about what they want to do next, and Mifuyu has this amazing idea that in order to hurt Team Mikazuki, they're going to break the team apart and make Yachio a loner again. That's pretty fucking evil there, Mifuyu. I thought you were a good person, but apparently not. We then see that the rest of the team, Team Mikazuki, they talk about how they want to move forward, similar to what they did at the end of the last chapter, where they've all met up and they've just talked about Nemu possibly being a Magius, and we get a little bit of slice of life stuff with Felicia and Tsuruno fight, just to show the viewers like, hey, these people are like a family and they're like really happy together and they're like a well-oiled machine. I hope nothing bad happens to them, eh? And Sana then has this amazing idea, how about we go and buy some roller coasters for Yachio? And they agree with that. So Iroha then texts Maruka about the coasters, and because she does that sometimes now, like for now until like later parts, she just randomly texts Maruka because the writers want to make sure that you realize that Maruka is still part of this story, you know, because it's very important that Maruka is still here. And Maruka then also texts back about how sad it is that Mommy is still missing and they're still looking for her, just so you don't forget about that, because that's gonna come up later in this chapter. The team then goes out and they shop for some coasters, and that's pretty much all that happened. They just go, "We shop for coasters. We then went home." This is like an extra scene in the anime, and we saw in the anime how pointless it was, so yeah, that really didn't need to be a scene anyway. Like I said, the anime isn't all perfect. Like, this is maybe a point where the game actually was a bit better, and then they just skipped the scene because it was pointless, but whatever. Then on the day where they want to have the surprise for Yachio, where they give her the roller coasters, Mifuyu just lets herself into the house. Like I know in the anime she like rings the doorbell. No, in the game she sort of has the key, because of course she lived there, so she still has the key, and she just lets herself in like, "Hey, how's it going?" And Mifuyu then makes herself some tea. Basically, this entire scene is almost exactly the same as in the anime, but I'm gonna go over it anyway. She makes herself some tea after some awkward silence between the two. Mifuyu then goes to the forbidden mugs, the forbidden cabinet, and mentions that though in the game she does mention that there is another mug in that cabinet. In the anime, we've actually seen those other mugs. There's actually more mugs in the anime, because I guess in the game she threw out Kanae's mug, while in the anime, no, in the game she threw out the mugs, but I guess in the anime she still kept it, just so you could visually see that there's other mugs in there. And what then happens is she talks about how Iroha should join the Wings of Magius, because that would kind of help everyone. Like, she knows that Iroha is kind of looking for Ui, who might be somewhere in the Wings of Magius, who knows, and they're kind of, Iroha is kind of a thorn in her side, so maybe if he joins us, none of this would be a problem anymore. So she wants Iroha to join, and decides that there should be something like a lecture maybe, so that Iroha can come to understand the motives of the Magius, and then maybe she would be inclined to join. We know that, I mean, in the anime, all of this seems a lot more friendly. In the game, we know that Mifuyu, in this entire chapter, is basically trying to drive a giant wedge through to Mikazuki, and basically hurt Yachio as much as she can, which is super fucking malicious. But the lecture is a giant part of this, and Mifuyu then says that if she wants to come to this lecture, she first needs to investigate the Memory Museum in order to find out how to get there. Why did she even do this? Why couldn't she just say, here's the Memory Museum? She says something, it's like a test to see if she's good enough to join Wings of Magius or something, or to impress the Magius. But she's already defeated like 5 or however many rumors, because she also fights rumors off screen. So she's already defeated like 1 billion rumors probably off screen already. Hasn't she proven herself enough? But no, you need to do another thing. It's like in World of Warcraft where during World of Warcraft, I know it's a terrible expansion. I don't even know what it was, yeah. You have to test yourself to Odin like 10 times, and every single time he says, now you've proven yourself, but you need to prove yourself one more time. It's also in many Legend of Zelda games where you always need to be tested. There's so many Legend of Zelda games where the entire game is just being tested. If you're strong enough to like have the Master Sword or whatever, we've already proven ourselves more than enough. We don't need another fucking test, whatever. So that's basically how that scene was about to end, until Yachio then suddenly arrives, and Mifuyu just immediately wants Yachio to join the Wings of Magius as well. She knows she won't say yes, but like I said, this is all to destroy Team Mikazuki, so she brings it up in front of everyone, and Tsuruno and the rest of the team then also enter the house, and Tsuruno glomps Mifuyu like she always does, but Mifuyu then really does leave, but not before dragging Yachio out for a one-on-one serious talk between 2 ex-girlfriends. And in that serious one-on-one talk, Mifuyu mentions Yachio's past and how everything is repeating itself. Basically, in the anime, they did this in front of everyone, which actually was probably better at driving a wedge between everyone. While in the game, she did indeed have this like one-on-one with her to tell her about how everything's going to be shit again, and that she should probably not do this anymore. And then Yachio gets really, really sad. Really, really sad. A lot of stuff happens, like I said, rather similar to how the anime did it, but moving on to the next part of the story, where we see that Iroha and Madoka, they're texting again, where Iroha mentions the lecture, because she actually mentions the lecture to a lot of people in the game, including Madoka. And yeah, that's basically that. That's just all a setup, by the way, because Madoka and Homura and Sayaka are also going to appear later in this chapter, so we're basically setting up that they know about the lecture now. Even though I don't know if they actually... Was it ever revealed how Madoka, Homura, and Sayaka figure out where the Memory Museum is? I think it was somewhere in like another story or whatever. I don't remember it though. So Iroha tells the rest of the team as well that, yeah, she's going to the lecture. Maybe anyone wants to come along, and then the rest of the team decides, yeah, sure, whatever. And Yachio's also there, and she kind of then also mentions that she's going to leave earlier for school, and that she has a photo shoot later, almost exactly the same lines as she says in the anime. And then, in order to find out where the Memory Museum is, because they need to look into it, at least here, they've been told right from the start, right by Mifuyu, that they need to investigate it, and the team then decides to look and get some help from Team Kamore, who is of course very much still fine in the game. And Team Kamore then talks a little bit about this lecture, but they don't know where the museum is either. Now, all the time, meanwhile, Momoko is kind of like trying to hide something from the rest of the team, and we don't know what it is yet that she's trying to hide from everyone. But Momoko has this idea that, hey, maybe Mitama knows what's up. So Momoko invites Iroha over to Mitama's place, and Mitama says that she doesn't know anything, but it's possible that some of the people that she has as customers might have some idea. However, because she's a neutral party, she's not going to give out any information for free, and she wants something in return. What that is, we don't know, because we don't actually get to follow this part of the story. Probably something lewd, because in the game, Mitama is completely lewd all the time. She's a very aggressive lesbian in the game, which was a fun part of her, but you don't actually get to see a lot of that in the anime at all. So there's actually also this part where Mitama also for some reason mentions Momoko's socks, and she knows how Momoko's socks look like. Yeah, that's a different translation, because in the original she really did mention Momoko's pants. She did mention that she knows what Momoko's pants look like. Of course, that was translated differently, because we gotta stay PG-13, right? So because Mitama doesn't really want to hand out the information, what would we do at this point in the story? Yeah, Iroha just randomly gets a call from Kaede. So yeah, she just randomly gets a call because Kaede somehow randomly found another Uwasa-san somewhere talking about the Memory Museum. How fortunate for our heroes and how fortunate for our writers that we don't need to worry about a logical through line of events if we can just have random coincidences happen that just randomly drive the plot forwards. So at the end of this, as Iroha is leaving, Mitama then also convinces Momoko to tell Kaede and Rena about something special, the secret of magical girls, basically, similar to how it happens in the anime. And Iroha then goes over and meets Kaede and Rena at the arcade. They immediately, instantly, without having to search at all, find the Uwasa-san again, and the Uwasa-san tells the rumor of the Memory Museum, which is pretty much the exact same as it is in the anime. We then see that Iroha and Sana, they're at Bamban's side together with Felicia and Tsuruno, who are part-timing, and they are talking about the rumor there as well. And they now know the contents of the rumor, but they still don't know exactly where it is, other than it's somewhere around Sakai Ward. And Tsuruno has this amazing idea that what if the Memory Museum is in an actual museum? Oh, actually, I think she says museum, but yeah, what if it's actually in there? But they don't know what museum. Oh, we still don't know where it is. And then Tsuruno's dad just randomly says, Memory Museum? Don't know about that, but there's a memorial museum in Sakae Ward that's abandoned for already a bunch of time. Couldn't it be that? And yes, that's exactly what it is. The Memorial Museum that's been abandoned in Sakae Ward. How fortunate that random NPC, I mean, it's Tsuruno's dad, it's not that random, but isn't it fortunate that he just randomly knows about it? And Tsuruno even mentions this and says, oh wow, isn't that lucky? It must be my mighty luck, right? No, it's just the writers not having any idea of how they should push the plot forward and then just throwing a random bone to the characters that just happens to be exactly the solution. Yay! So after all of this, after they've now finally found this information, the team then reports back to Yachio, because Yachio still hasn't agreed to let them go to the museum or coming along. So ultimately Yachio decides, okay, you guys can go, but only you guys, I'm staying here. So yeah, Yachio won't be coming along. She doesn't really give a shit about anything anymore. Tsuruno tries to somehow get through to Yachio and tries to talk to her like one-on-one, but no, Yachio is not budging at all. So ultimately, the team without Yachio decides to leave for the Memory Museum. We do get a hint, though, that Yachio might be joining later as he looks out the window and goes, oh, damn. And the last thing we see in this part of the story is that suddenly a figure appears in front of them in this like stylized shot. And then we get another stylized shot where we see Toka, the smug loli that everyone hates. Not everyone, but most people hate, is sitting just there and has been waiting for our heroes to arrive, basically. And that's how this part of the story ends. So yeah, that's mostly a lot of the stuff that we've seen in the anime, but there's a bunch of cool stuff in the anime that we need to get to. So, starting out with the anime, we see that Tsukuyo Akatsuki is indeed in the Koto Club, where we see that Mifuyu also used to be in the Koto Club. And the important bit here is that it basically shows the connection that Mifuyu has been going to the same school that Tsukuyo did, because we know that in the game, Mifuyu and Tsukuyo are good friends, and yeah, that's basically it. They were good friends, and Mifuyu is kind of like the mentor to some degree of Tsukuyo, and we do see that, well, why is she called Akatsuki in here? Because this is not something that was made up or something. Like, she really is actually called Tsukuyo Akatsuki, but she's also Tsukuyo Amane, and I know a lot of people have already pointed this out in other places. The thing is, I don't want to just randomly post spoiler stuff in, like, for example, on Reddit or in like non-spoiler posts, or I don't want to post all of that info or show that information in my non-spoiler review, because it's supposed to be the non-spoiler review. This kind of information is for this video, and I don't want to throw it out in other places, and I don't want other people to throw that out on my videos when it's like a non-spoiler video. Anyway, yeah, the reason of this is, of course, the backstory of the Neys, where they were separated at birth because their parents were kind of dicks to each other and divorced, and they didn't even know that the other person existed. Like, you have the both magical girl side stories for Tsukuyo and Tsukasa, who are pretty much the same, just from a different perspective, where Tsukuyo grew up in the rich neighborhood with rich assets, while Tsukasa grew up in the poor neighborhood with poor assets, and they sort of developed different personalities because of this. But the thing is, they've both been living in like terrible situations, because Tsukuyo's grandma is like a total stuck-up bitch and wants her to basically live like a princess and do all the sort of chores around the house, but also learn, like Koto, study so much she only gets straight A's and all that kind of stuff, while Tsukasa basically has to help out in the shop, she has to help out at home, she basically has to carry the entire family, because her dad and her brothers are kind of like, they're not really useless people, but they kind of don't have their shit together. So both these characters, they're kind of in the shits, and they accidentally meet up as they are like maybe a year before the events of the anime. They like randomly meet up somewhere and realize, oh my god, we're twins, isn't that amazing? And then they fight and they hate each other for a little bit, but then they decide, oh my god, we're twins, we're supposed to be one unit, we're supposed to be together forever. So they both make their wish, and their wish is we want to never hate each other again. So their wish basically made them magically not attracted to each other, but inseparable, basically. And also people have pointed out that maybe this weird stuff, I think it was in episode 4 or 5, where we see them dancing around suggestively in each other's arms or whatever, that might be part of the wish, that they're like inseparable now. But yeah, that's basically why Tsukuyo is called Akatsuki, why Tsukasa is not going to the same school, and why they have different personalities to begin with. But yeah, that's just basically all of that, and they kind of hinted at this in the smallest possible way. But yeah, Iroha was waiting outside, whatever, and we then get to see the OP. In the opening, there is, of course, two major differences. First off, there are more witches and wasa on the stairs. We're not going to point all of them out because you've already seen them all by now. And in the final shot, of course, Sana is there. She's always been there, of course, but now we can actually see her. Of course, if you were a stand user, if you were a magical girl, you could already see her, but not everyone is a magical girl. We then see after the opening that the team indeed talks about Nemu, similar to how it was both in the game and at the end of the last episode, where Nemu was mentioned, and Sana says that the wings, they were talking about her. So what if we could interrogate a feather? However, they have a problem. They don't know how they could just interrogate and find a black feather. But this is where something important comes in. Iroha has seen Tsukuyo in her school uniform. So Iroha knows what school Tsukuyo goes to. The rest of the team does not know this. So Iroha then goes and ambushes Tsukuyo in front of her school and wants to talk to her. And something really cool is that I've already talked about this scene in, I think it was the review for episode 8, where in the game, pretty much the exact same thing happened, but in the chapter before this. So the team wanted to find information on the radio wave rumor. I'm not going to show it on screen again, unless I am. I don't know. But they wanted to show information on the radio wave rumor, so they know what school Tsukuyo goes to because they had seen her uniform at the end of the chapter before that, when they originally fought Dum-D and stuff. And so they ambush Tsukuyo, they drag her to a cafe and talk to her a little bit, try to get information on Tsukuyo. Then Tsukuyo runs away, gets shot at by Homura, and then they find out that the person that is trapped in Endless Solitude was Sana. That's basically everything that came from that was just finding out that Sana is trapped in there, which that piece of information wasn't actually that important, so the entire scene was pretty much just for fun. It was a funny scene that, they ambushed Tsukuyo and then she gets shot at by Homura because we need to bully the knees. We always need to bully the knees in every single chapter. But in the anime, it actually makes a lot more sense that it is here, because we need a logical through line, of course, for why everything is happening. And so they realize, we still have the scene of Tsukuyo getting ambushed in front of a school. How could we maybe use this scene to establish a logical through line? And that's exactly what they're doing. So Iroha had ambushed her, and Tsukuyo, as she is being talked to by Iroha, mentions, you're going to torture me, you're going to interrogate me. And Iroha says no. But in the game, that's exactly what they kind of did. They didn't torture her or anything, but they did call her a Dino Dasher and have Homura shoot at her. So yeah, they did still bully her. So they do end up talking, and what they were talking about is Iroha mentions how she's looking for her sister, as we see a quick little shot, by the way, of Sana seeing some roller coasters and wanting to probably buy those coasters later. And Iroha mentions all of this because she wants to try to warm up and sympathize with Tsukuyo, who also has a sister. And they show these two flutes as Tsukuyo talks about them being the only two. And the interesting bit is, though, that in the game, they made a point of how both of these flutes have like a moon symbol on it, and that's actually more like a symbolic meaning of both of them being together, like the two flutes with moon symbols. They don't have moon symbols in the anime. I don't know why. Was it that much of a deal to like paint a tiny moon on the... Maybe it's fixed in the Blu-ray. There's going to be a lot of stuff in here where I think to myself, maybe they're just going to fix this on the Blu-ray. Like, maybe in the Blu-ray they're going to have moons on it. I don't know. So Iroha then blackmails Tsukuyo basically with all of this information into her helping, and like I said, she has smartly written a letter about all the things she's done at home in case she goes missing, that Yachio will instantly know what's up. And Tsukuyo doesn't indeed agree, but she talks to Mifuyu. And this is how we establish this logical through line. Tsukuyo wants to help Iroha and talks to Mifuyu about all of this, about wanting to find Nemo in order to get information on Ui. And then Mifuyu, of course, would go, oh man, wouldn't it actually be great then if Iroha would join us, because that would solve all of those problems. That would solve everyone's problem, and we now have a logical through line. Nice. Back at home then, Sana brings up the idea of buying coasters for the Magukapu in order to basically have a thank you for Yachio, and the team then goes out, buys coasters, Gertrude appears, they save the coasters and beat Gertrude off screen. I'm not going to talk too much about the scene because the scene is pretty fucking pointless. I'm sorry, but this is probably the most pointless scene in the entire anime so far. One thing to note though is the grief seed that they get looks really nondescript, like it looks completely plain. This is another thing that I'm going to chalk up to, yeah, they're probably going to fix it in the Blu-ray. Why are they doing this? You know, people have already pointed out that some other grief seeds before this also have looked nondescript. I'm just going to chalk this up to they're just lazy. There's just super lazy animators and just go, yeah, whatever, we're going to fix it in the Blu-ray, whatever. So yeah, I assume it's going to be different in the Blu-ray, but I don't like this idea of just saying that we're just going to be lazy now and then fix this stuff later in the Blu-ray. Kind of like games as a service, which is also a complete cancer on the video game industry. Hopefully they're not going to continue doing stuff like this. But anyway, the team then is back home, or at least Iroha is back home with the team waiting outside. And they wait for Yachio to come home, but Mifuyu suddenly rings the doorbell and comes home. And this is awkward tension between the two, of course similar to how it happens in the game. Mifuyu goes up, gets some tea, and she grabs her mug out of the forbidden cupboard, where she says, this one is mine. In the game, like I said, she did mention there being another mug in there, but in another episode, I forgot if this was the episode before this, we did see a shot of some other mugs right before Yachio decides to buy some more mugs, Magukapu, and the other mugs that we see in there, well, one of this was, of course, Mifuyu's cup. We saw Yachio's old broken mug, we saw the mug of Kanae, who's fucking dead, and the mug of Mel, who is fucking dead. So they did kind of hint towards that in the game as well, while in the anime they did it visually in an earlier episode. But yeah, you have had the setup of these Magukapu that don't belong to anyone anymore, and that for some reason the rest of the team isn't allowed to touch and go to. So Mifuyu, of course, makes herself some tea, and she makes Iroha some tea as well. While they talk, we do get to see some pictures on the wall. And of course, there's a picture of Kanae and there's a picture of Mel. We'll come back to this later. And Mifuyu mentioned that she didn't come for Yachio, she came for her. Because she wants to steal Yachio's girlfriend. And she decides that it would be best for Iroha if she could just join the Wings of Magius. That would help everyone. It would help Iroha. She would be able to find and talk to Nemu, who might have information on Oi. She would be able to investigate all of that a lot more easily without having to fight the Wings of Magius all the time. And for the Wings of Magius, they would no longer have to deal with Iroha. Wouldn't that be nice? All of that sounds pretty nice, but Iroha, of course, she doesn't want to do that because she doesn't want to help witches, she doesn't want to help Uwasa, she has to be the good person, so she can't do it. Mifuyu doesn't mention something important though here, in that she does mention she has no idea about Ui herself, but she mentions that could be possible that she's a feather and I don't know about it, which is something that Mifuyu mentioned like 2 chapters ago, which I thought was a bit weird, and it's also a bit weird here because Mifuyu is supposed to know everyone in the feathers, but she's like, whatever, maybe she's a feather from somewhere, I don't know. Mifuyu then does indeed invite everyone, because she knows the rest of the team is there as well. She invites everyone over to a lecture at the Memory Museum, which is a little invitation that she has. And just at this point, Yachio does come home. And in this shot where Yachio comes home, we do see the pictures on the wall again. And yes, of course, Kanae is missing from the pictures, and Mel is also missing from the pictures. Just another visual hint for people who know about it that they're both fucking dead. So both of the two, Mifuyu and Yachio, they do bicker a bit, or rather Mifuyu taunts Yachio for making friends again. And Yachio says, no, we're not actually friends. And Mifuyu keeps taunting her until Yachio snaps and gets mad and goes to her room and sulks for a bit. And we have another interesting scene right here where Yachio sees Campanella, her double, in the mirror. And Campanella talks about how nice it is that Yachio has made friends for her. And you might be thinking, well, why does Campanella say, oh, you've made friends for me? What does that even mean? She basically means, oh, you've made friends for me to kill, because Yachio believes that her wish is killing people. That's basically the whole idea behind this. Yachio believes that she is like passively causing deaths of people around her, and so her doppel, Campanella, sort of embraces that as part of herself and taunts Yachio about it, like, hey, nice, you've made friends again, how about I get them killed again, yay. So basically that's the whole idea behind why Yachio is getting sad again and why she doesn't want to call these people her friends. And the next day, I assume it's the next day. Yeah, it's the next day. Yachio then lets the team go to the lecture, but she won't be coming along. She doesn't give a shit. And she also mentions, similar to how it does in the game, like she's going to go to school early and she's going to work late to do some photo shoots. And we then get to see this arts and crafts invitation that Mifuyu has made for the team. And isn't it nice? And in the center we see this figure who's supposed to be the little match girl, who is supposed to be symbolic for Toka, because Toka is supposed to be the little match girl from the fable that I don't remember right now. Toka's doppel also has matches on it. I don't like Toka, but I think that's a pretty cool symbolism. Anyway, the team wants to go to the lecture, but they don't actually know where the museum is. Why didn't Mifuyu just tell them? I don't even know. So Iroha then visits Momoko and Mitama because she has an idea that maybe they know about it. And yeah, they do know about it. Mitama just tells the rumor of the Memory Museum, which also is, once again, just like in the game, they're pretty much the same rumor in here. And I do need to mention, of course, yes, the building is indeed modeled, or at least it looks like it was intentionally modeled after the headquarters of the Italian National Fascist Party. And some people say this is because it's supposed to foreshadow that the Magios are kind of a bit fascist. But we also see some other visuals in the explanation of the Oasa, and no, I don't know why the fuck there's some guy having a goat trumpet, like, no. I think it's just supposed to be some memory that you want to forget. And if you want to forget the memory, come to the Memory Museum. Momoko uses all this information to figure out the location, and everything is fine. We don't need to worry about this for an entire fucking chapter. Mitama then also, as Uroha is left, talks to her about how she should tell Kaiti and Rena the truth about medical girls, which she agrees to. And the Mikazuki now indeed makes their way off to the Memory Museum as Yachio stays behind being all sad. And as they arrive at the Memory Museum, having Naruto run there, because just the thing about Naruto run, it's like a way of having characters running that looks fast, but needs like zero animation. You can literally just draw the character and have them bop up and down, and it looks fast, like, oh my god, they're running so fast. It's not supposed to be an actual, like, serious way of running. It's just animators going, how can we make characters look like they're running fast but have minimal animation? Oh yeah, we'll just have them have their hands on their side and we can have them bop up and down. It looks really fast, right? Yeah. Cutting corners again. Better be fixed in the Blu-ray. So as they arrive there, Mokyu appears again, and they kind of have this little back and forth about what should we even name the Mokyu. The reason this is supposed to, I guess, also supposed to be some sort of reference to the game, because in the game, Mokyu is named after the player. So the player decides what Mokyu should be named, and of course in the anime there is no player to name a Mokyu, so Mokyu doesn't really have a name in the anime. So they just throw some names around. Hachibei is one of the ones they throw around, because of course Kyubei is like, the Q is like a 9, I think, and in Kazumi Magika there's one called Jubei, which is like 10, and here's Hachibei, Hachi is like 8. It's like, oh, wordplay, whatever. I don't really care about that. So as they make their way up the memory museum, we then also get to see another shot of Momoko meeting Reina back out in the rain, and Momoko says that she wants to talk about what happened to Yachio 1 year ago. Yeah, basically where Mel became a witch, and she wants to talk about that because she wants to tell Reina about the truth behind magical girls becoming witches. This is basically what this entire chapter is about, guys. I've almost been through the entire video. I haven't even talked about what this entire chapter is about. Yeah, the entire chapter is basically Mifuyu wants to get Toka to tell the entire team that they're all gonna become witches, and then they're gonna get brainwashed and mind controlled. Yes, that's actually what's gonna happen. Hopefully it doesn't happen in the anime. I hope it doesn't happen in the anime, because this is when the entire story, I mean, the writing was already kind of meh, but this is where the writing went, oh shit, we're going all the way down into the depths of shitty writing, because we just go, they just get brainwashed. Please don't have that happen in the anime. But yeah, they reach the inner parts of the museum, and the smug loli is sitting there on the chair, already transformed and everything. And this is also where the episode ends. And there's one difference in the ED in the ending, where actually two different endings. I think there's a crescent moon. I should have double checked this. I've just heard someone talk about this. I should have double checked it already. It's like a crescent moon at the end instead of a full moon. Not quite sure what that means. It could be as in like the moon, like the parts of the moon that are light getting smaller. And also, right at the end of the ED, there's rain, and the rain actually increases in intensity. I should have double-checked this. I might be talking shit. But yeah, the rain increasing intensity might just be like, oh, shit's about to get real. Ooh. Everything is about to get really, really sad. Like, next episode is probably going to be the big... Like, yeah, pretty much next episode is the big twist episode. You know, like most stories have in the middle of the story like the first big twist, and then like another big twist towards the end of the story. This is the first big twist that's going to happen in the Memory Museum, and we're all building up towards that now. And the end card is drawn by Yugen, who is the artist for the Azalea trio. Now, if you looked at the end card, you might have seen 3 characters that you don't know about. I guess 4 if you count Kuroe. 3 characters. 1, the blonde girl all the way on the right. That's Hazuki Yusa, who is super duper intelligent. Okay, maybe not that intelligent, but she's pretty intelligent, pretty smart. She's very sociable. She knows how to talk to people, and she is the perfect romantic partner for Nanaka, of course, which Konoha hates. Konoha in the top left corner, who has this like sort of brownish color. Sometimes it's blue because the artist randomly changes her hair color sometimes between pictures, I don't know why, but right here for this image she has like brownish color. She looks really serious because she's kind of like this overprotective mother who gets jealous about everyone immediately. Like, for example, if Hazuki meets someone and Konoha doesn't know about it, Konoha would go, "You met with someone and you didn't tell me? Now get back in the house before something bad happens." Kind of like, yeah, like a super overprotective mother who gets crazy about everything and then goes, "Ree!" She did basically go "ree" in the Azalea event, where she basically said, "Oh my god, you're trying to hurt us, I'm gonna kill everyone." Like she literally went, "I'm gonna kill everyone, ree!" Yeah, she's pretty crazy. A lot of people like her, but a lot of people also hate her because of how easy it is for her to be to just go into a blind rage. And then on the bottom left, next to Kaede, we have Ayame, and Ayame is basically Felicia. I mean, that's her entire character. She's like 13 years. She's the same age as Felicia, and she's also like a chuuni who gets like immediately enraged at pretty much everything, and then goes, fighting, I'm gonna fight, yeah, fighting, boom, 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 and then just runs in and fights. It's just pretty much Felicia, just without the tragic backstory. Actually, the backstory, I'm just gonna quickly go over this just very quickly for like less than a minute. The Azalea trio, they were orphans, and they really liked the Azalea house, which was like an orphanage, and they really liked the director, who was like a very, very kind person, and they died, I think. The director died, and then another director came in, and that person was like a super total asshole, and they were gonna close the Azalea house, and then they both made like 3 wishes together that were basically around make sure the Azalea house doesn't get closed, and I think make all the people at Azalea house forget about them and all that kind of stuff. So they sort of left Azalea house, covered their tracks, but made sure that Azalea house was protected from any future troubles. And then they decided to live in other places. And how do they get money? I need to bring this up because it's the funniest shit. How do these 3 people that were like orphans that now ran away from the orphanage, how are they making money to not go under in these troubling times? Konoha is apparently super duper smart because her wish about covering her tracks gave her magic that allows her to predict stuff. I don't exactly know how it works, but she uses basically her magic to enter the stock market and buy and sell stocks. Yeah, Konoha literally does stonks to make the Azalea trio stay afloat. I don't know why I find this so fucking funny, but yeah, stonks is how the Azalea trio makes money. And yeah, that's basically this entire end card. I want to talk about this because I thought it was funny. So yeah, you're talking about the episode as a whole. This was probably the most true to the game episode so far, at least in all the stuff that did happen outside of the Tsukuyo ambush, which did happen in another part of the story. So apart from the Tsukuyo ambush, pretty much everything happened almost the same as it did in the game, which is okay because this part of the story was actually alright. I actually liked this part of the story. Like I do like the part where Mifuyu just randomly arrives at Mikazuki Villa and puts Iroha on the spot, and then we see some bickering and some conflict between Mifuyu and Yachio. So I did like that part, so it's good that they actually kept that intact for the most part. I do like the fact that the Tsukuyo ambush actually makes more sense in this context, because it does lead to the logical through line. So once again, the anime has managed to cut out all of the random coincidences that just happen to push the plot forward and actually establish a logical through line that makes sense. Nice. So in the game, what happens is Mifuyu, as I mentioned earlier, wants to intentionally break the team apart and hurt Yachio in a malicious way so that she becomes a sad loner again, so that they're not a thorn in their side anymore. The thing is, if you read Mifuyu's side story, she already did something similar to this earlier, because the entire idea behind the Seance Shrine rumor is Mifuyu specifically wanted that rumor to be set up in order to trap Yachio, not forever, but at least as long as it took until Magius was able to reach their goal. So Mifuyu, this entire time, has already been trying in the game to maliciously hurt Yachio. I say maliciously, which might sound wrong to some people. I don't mean maliciously as in she hates Yachio. She still likes Yachio, she still wants the best to Yachio, but I say maliciously in that the stuff that she is doing has the prime intent to either hurt Yachio or set Yachio back or trap Yachio. Like, her intent is to do bad things to Yachio. She just says, oh, I'm doing bad things to Yachio, but it's for her own good. Yeah, I don't like that at all. Well, at least in the anime, it's more like she made these malicious taunts at Yachio, which might look malicious to a lot of people that watch that, but I took it more as in she made those taunts in the moment because she saw how she saw those other mugs and realized that she was indeed making friends again, and she wanted to. Maybe she does kind of want to drive a wedge between them in the anime as well. Like I said, it's not like I said because I'm just bringing that up right now, but it is also possible that in the anime you're also going to reveal that Mifuyu wanted to drive a wedge into Team Mikazuki on purpose. But at least so far, I would say it was more of a circumstantial thing that she was taunting Yachio. But yeah, we still need to. The jury is still out on this. If it was premeditated that Mifuyu was doing these taunts at Yachio, or if it really was just about, hey, Iroha wanted to find info on Nimue and her sister, and having her join would be really nice, and that's why they set up a memory museum as well, to maybe see, hey, maybe these people can actually join us. That would be really nice. So there were, of course, even more hints now at Yachio's past, and small hints towards, oh, we're going to reveal the truth about the magical girls becoming witches. Whoa! Next episode. So next episode, like I said, is going to be the big make or break episode, because, or actually, if they are going to go into brainwashing, we might get hints on that next episode. But even if they are going with brainwashing, it would happen in episode 13. So episode 13 is going to end in two ways. Either the entire team, apart from Iroha and Yachio, gets brainwashed, and the team splits apart. And if they're going to do with that, they're probably also going to throw in Mami as being brainwashed as well. So either they're going with, yeah, brainwash, whatever, brainwash the fuck out of them, and everyone gets brainwashed, including Mami. And that's how episode 13 ends, in this big cliffhanger, like, oh shit, everyone's fucked. And then it's like, oh, you want to know how everything continues? Wait for the second season. That's basically how that would go. Or they go, first off, Mami doesn't get brainwashed because that's stupid, and they also go, no, we don't want to do brainwashing, so instead, maybe Tsuruno, or maybe Felicia, we're not quite sure. Maybe some of them join the Wings of Magius, not completely out of their free will, but without brainwashing. I still see the idea that these memories are influencing people that see them. By the way, the memories that they're seeing is basically the entire backstory of Yachio, because Mifuyu was there for the entirety of Yachio's backstory. So Mifuyu has the memories of Yachio's backstory, and they basically are going to play back Mifuyu's memories of Yachio's backstory, where Kanae dies, where Mel dies, where we see the truth of magical girls, where we see how everything was set up and how sad Yachio has become, all of that stuff. And the idea is that seeing these memories is going to influence them into wanting to join the Wings of Magius. However, like I said, it's either they get influenced but still say no and then get brainwashed, or they get influenced and sort of say that they're still like lucid, they're not getting brainwashed, but they still think to themselves, this kind of makes sense, right? Maybe I should join, I don't know. And they do actually end up deciding to join based on this influence. There is a bit of a difference here, and of course, if they do decide to join mostly on their own accord, like I said, we probably also wouldn't get the Mami brainwash side plot. So episode 13 is going to be the big make or break if they are willing to nosedive the story, because I don't see any way of them having a brainwash plot and not nosediving the story quality. Not like the story quality is amazingly high, but you can always go down. Although next episode we're just going to see how they handle all of these flashbacks, and they might show some hints of brainwashing, maybe in like a post-credits or whatever the cliffhanger is. Maybe next episode in the cliffhanger we might see brainwashing. It's hard to tell. But yeah, next episode and the episode after that is going to be the make or break. Which direction are they going to go? We've already seen some hints that they're going away from brainwashing, because episode 3 had brainwashing. Would have had brainwashing if they went with the game. In the game, the staircase rumor brainwashed people. Didn't do that in the anime. So, and also, Mami isn't missing and was hinted at having something terrible happen to her. She's in the Magius out of her own free will. So we've already seen two aspects where in the game we were pushed towards brainwashing, while in the anime those two scenes specifically didn't happen, and so there's no push towards brainwashing currently whatsoever. So like I said, we can see all of that. And then of course this all leads to chapter 7, which is like, hey guys, did you know Tsuruno is actually having a major depression phase? And that's basically chapter 7. And then chapter 8, which is Megoka Gang Wars, and then chapter actually whatever. So yeah, that's how everything's gonna continue right now. Like I said, I can only continue to repeat this. I really hope they don't go brainwashing plot. But yeah, that was that. I think that should be a thing. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. if you want to, of course, see the next few videos as soon as they come out, I'm going to have more time to dedicate to episodes in between the anime. Of course, once the anime is over, that doesn't mean that there's going to be less Magia Record content. There might even be more Magia Record content because I have more time for other videos. I still need to make more advanced guide videos. I need to make videos talking about the entirety of the anime. I need to do compilations of the anime. I need to do a lot more videos on the anime. I need to do a lot more videos on the game, on guides, on game story. I need to do so much more videos. So yeah, if you want to see all of these videos as they come out, remember to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.